There is a big scope, big opportunity available in the profession. The only point is that we need to grow Indian firms into bigger firms to avail all these facilities. And I have seen chartered accountants can be successful in any field. You take examples of Kumar Mangalam Birla, he is an industry, top-notch industrialist. Take example of Shekhar Kapoor, who is in film industry.
One question that you addressed to the younger audience, when you say younger chartered accountants should have an approach to practice, what could be the right time? Because one school of thought says that you spend some amount of time in maybe a larger firm, learn, and then move out and maybe create your own firm. One school of thought would think that you should start from on your own from the start itself, like don't work for someone else, just you begin. So where do you see which one is more beneficial?
Welcome to Chartered Chat Show Season 2. Guest for today's chat show is our past president, CA Nihar Jambusaria, sir.
Okay, welcome sir, welcome to the Chartered Chat Show. Sir, my first question to you is, you've been the president of the ICAI and having that designation, you've seen chartered accountants from a very different perspective. And where do you see, like how do we grow and really take this profession forward?
Yeah, so recently in last about 10 years, what you must have observed that most of the newly qualifieds are preferring to go for jobs either in corporates or in some big firms. And the time is different. Actually, earlier, chartered accountants used to prefer professional practice. Now, in today's scenario, if you see the number of opportunities which have opened up, like in MSME sector, startup, insolvency law, technology, sustainability, I would feel that if more and more members come to the profession and they start their practice not as sole proprietary concerns, but at least a partnership firm to start with, and if they want to grow in different sectors and avail these opportunities, then it should be a multi-services firm. Earlier, the profession was confined to just audit, tax, company law. But now if you see the opportunities which are available in finance sector, and as I talked about sustainability, insolvency, and many other opportunities which have opened up, there is a big scope, big opportunity available in the profession. The only point is that we need to grow Indian firms into bigger firms to avail all these facilities.
Especially, sir, with respect to these kind of work that you just referred, the major concern of majority of the chartered accountants that I feel personally is that when you look upon traditional practice, it's a low-hanging fruit, easier to catch, like easier to learn, easier to accomplish. But with practices which are specialized or which only a bigger company would or an MNC would want, that scalability within Indian CA firms is somewhere it's lacking. And if we talk about small partnership firms, even if smaller people come together, they face challenges as in they will not be able to take up that work at such a big scale. So this thought process that we have, one thought process is that we don't enter into partnership, that is true. But even if we enter into smaller partnership and may not be able to cater the larger companies. How do we tackle?
For this purpose, the way bigger firms have grown, not that right from beginning they were big. You need to really avail and do courses post-qualification, like insolvency is a separate qualification course after you qualify as chartered accountant. For sustainability, institute runs many courses. For technology, many courses are available outside. And insofar as youngsters are concerned, for them, low-hanging fruits may not be that attractive because here now compliances are being taken over by technology. And they need to focus on those services where a professional's advice would be required, professional expertise would be required, and for that purpose, one cannot be in comfort zone saying that what I have learnt at CA level, that only I will practice. And I have seen chartered accountants can be successful in any field. You take examples of Kumar Mangalam Birla. He is in industry, top-notch industrialist. Take example of Shekhar Kapoor, who is in film industry. Take examples of many others who are not just only in professional practice, traditional practice, but those who have taken up many other sectors as their career path. And they are very successful because this basic knowledge and the training that you get in articles, it is good for you to catch up on anything in the world and anything in commerce field. So for that purpose, everybody should keep open mind. It may take 5 years to really grab the new opportunities, but that much patience anybody should have. And unless you make research, you put in efforts, you have open mind to grab newer opportunities, you cannot expect that you will grow big and you will be able to succeed in the profession.
And there's one question when you address to the younger audience, when you say younger chartered accountants should have an approach to practice, what could be the right time? Because one school of thought says that you spend some amount of time in maybe a larger firm, learn, and then move out and maybe create your own firm. One school of thought would think that you should start from on your own from the start itself. Like, don't work for someone else, just you begin. So where do you see which one is more beneficial?
So if one wants to start practicing in a field like MSME or startup or insolvency law, one can start on his or her own, take colleagues of the same age or even some seniors together, and they can start. No kind of training is required in a senior firm. Now insolvency law has become quite old. It came in 2016. So if at all somebody after qualifying as IP wants to have some training, for a year or so one can have training in an IP's office, and after that start practice. If one wants to practice in international tax or some fields which require some training, hands-on training, there even after qualification, if you join some bigger firm, 2, 3, 4 years, you take some experience and start. It is not a big period. See, if you take training in a bigger firm for 3 or 4 years, you can then upfront come forward and start practice. So, which model you want to adopt will depend on which area you want to practice in. Some of the areas are fairly new. They don't require any training. Sustainability, for example. See, assurance is going to become compulsory in some time. Today, reporting is mandatory for top 1,000 listed companies. But going forward, the way climate is changing, the way sustainability is being looked upon by the entire world, sustainability will have good scope. Smaller companies will also be covered within the ambit of sustainability. Today, government has started with top-bottom approach, but the entire population will have to be educated. Even bigger companies who have to comply with the reporting requirements, they have the requirement to train their suppliers. Their vendors should be compliant with the sustainability development goals. So indirectly, they have started encompassing even small businessmen. And going forward, a big population of business people will be covered within the ambit of sustainability. So all these fields look as if at present they are meant for big corporates, but time is not far when these all will be percolated down to even smaller companies, smaller firms, and there will be big scope for those who have already entered the field.
There's one thing that I personally felt when we visit conferences like the Institute's conferences and all. A lot of people are talking about practice not being very good. Okay, this is general perception that people have. And then they say traditional practice is going to die very soon, or it would not be that lucrative. That somehow is discouraging a few chartered accountants who are maybe entering now into practice, and then they are taking a step back. Okay, so this is...
Because we not look at only traditional areas. See, today time is not like what we had in our time when we had to start practice from home. Then we used to buy office. See, today banks financial institutions, the people are prepared to put equity into those who are willing to have bigger firms. So they can avail funding facility, have some decent small office to start with, and grow with time.
That is like chartered accountants need to take risks now and grow their firm. So that's what we had today in our show regarding growth chartered accountants. Thank you.